Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're again joined by Derek Binder to discuss all the latest news with Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS from this past week. So let's get right into it. Alright Derek, well I actually lied again this week. We're not going to talk about all the news, because like 300 more screenshots came out today, or 200 or something. And that's a lot of screenshots, and luckily most of them really didn't show that much new at all. So we're going to stick to the main 5 this week. And we're going to start off with Mondays being a pick, or another look at Greninja. Of course, the new Pokemon character from X and Y. Now, the main screenshot really doesn't show us anything that we hadn't seen before. But Sakurai posted a second screenshot with a caption that elaborates on Greninja's side special, which is a shadow sneak move. Now, you covered this a bit in the analysis. Now, to me, though, it looks a little bit like a Meta Knight's down B.
The key difference here might be, as I said in the analysis, I predicted that he'd be able to basically teleport around. It wasn't a counter move. Instead, it was him teleporting behind and immediately hitting the male Wii Fit trainer. In this case, we get a much better idea of it, where basically however long you hold the button is how far you'll be able to teleport. But the other thing that he mentioned that I did not know, there was no indication of this in the trailer, or in the direct, is that Greninja will be able to move around freely while he's charging this thing up. So you could be just sort of backing away or moving forward or going wherever you'd like, as long as you're still charging.
So that's really interesting, because I don't think we've seen a charged move work in anything like this.
The closest comparison would be if you're using the Super Scope in Brawl, you could charge it up and move back and forth as you're charging. So it'd be comparable to that. But I mean, the move sounds pretty cool. I like how Greninja is looking to be more of a mind games type character to complement his speed. But he's a very different speedy character. Like, I wouldn't directly compare him to, say Fox or Sonic. He's much more tricky than that.
Yeah, Sakurai says himself he's going to be extremely fun to use once you get to know how to use him. So yeah, I think there might be a learning curve with this guy, but if he's as fun as he seems to be, I'm actually looking forward to trying him out, despite not knowing anything about him from the Pokemon games. Alright, moving on to Tuesday's screenshot, we get a picture at another alternate form of Final Destination, or rather, I should say an alternate form of Gerudo Valley, being its Final Destination form. Now we already know, and as Sakurai, confirms here, most of the stages in the game will have a Final Destination form. And we can see, again, as with the case here, they basically all play just like Final Destination in this form. You just have like a single platform that's either floating or resting on some kind of rocks, as it is here. And it seems they all seem to be about of equal width. So as far as I can tell, like any Final Destination type version of a stage, it's functionally identical to Final Destination. The only difference is the background and the music, because Sakurai even clarifies here that there will be no stage hazards happening here. So these seem to me just purely Final Destination themed stages.
Yeah, that's definitely the case here. I mean, there's really not much to say about this picture in particular, except that I believe, I might be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first time we've seen a Final Destination version of a 3DS stage. I believe all the Final Destination versions we saw in the Direct were all from the Wii U version, so as far as we knew, that this option was not available in the 3DS version of Smash Brothers. However, thanks to the screenshot, we know that that's not the case, and 3DS will be getting Final Destination versions as well.
Yeah, that is good to know, and I think it's a good feature, but I do have one concern. Are these Final Destination versions of these stages coming at the expense of just being able to turn off stage hazards? Because I would much rather just being able to turn off stage hazards and, playing on these stages, as they're laid out. Because, a lot of these stages do have unique designs, and Final Destination isn't necessarily the end-all be-all, even for competitive play, but it still lends some players an advantage, some characters an advantage.
No, that's a good point. I never really thought about it like that. I mean, the way I took this whole idea is that it's a way for people who really like to play Final Destination, want to get away from Final Destination, and have a way to listen to the different music in the game, and have different backgrounds, and just change up the variety there, just a little bit, but still have the same basic concept. However, I can see exactly what you're saying as far as just using the layouts from these other stages, but some of them I think would be kind of difficult to pull off in that regard. Like, for example, the spirit train.
Right.
I'm not quite sure how you would still maintain.
Well, they could just have it just a station, a base platform in the stage. Just have the single or two train cars behind it and just don't have it change.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I definitely like your idea, and maybe we'll get to that for the next Smash Brothers game.
Well, I mean, it could still be here too. We don't know that it's not, especially with Sakurai, catering to the tournament scene.
Yeah, exactly. There's been a level of customization for this series for quite a while. I mean, you can decide which stages you want to play in. You can decide which items appear, that sort of thing. So who's to say there isn't a little switch there that says Hazards Off and Final Destination version? So I mean, it very well could be right, and I wouldn't be against it. I'd love to have keep the layouts but just turn off the hazards if it's annoying to a person or something to that effect.
Alright, moving on to Wednesday's screenshot, we get another look at Zero Suit Samus in the Wii Fit Studio stage. Now, it looks like she's doing a move that she also had in Brawl, which I think was her down special.
Yes, it was just I forget the official name, but it was just a flip, essentially, that would allow her to leap over her opponents and be able to get into them the other way. The key thing there was that it would, let's say you're facing left, and when you jump, you'll be facing right when you land. However, if you input the direction before you did the jump, you can almost play mind games with the other person and decide which way you're actually going to face. So you can actually, be facing left, jump, and keep facing left, or something to that effect, and just keep people on their toes.
Well, but Derek, she's not on her toes, dude.
Shut up. But yeah, I mean, it's neat. I'm sure it was appreciated on the scene. Visually, it looks like they kept it mostly the same, except that I believe this after image is new, right?
I don't remember it, but again, I wasn't a huge Zero Suit Samus fan or user either, so I can't say for sure. But I don't remember it being there. Yeah, it's an unusual effect, but it's kind of cool looking. So, and it does, it goes to show how much they are adding to, just the overall visuals of this game, where almost every move has some kind of overlay or visual attached to it. Alright, moving on to Thursday's screenshot. It's another look at Smash Run, which you should be well familiar with by now. This time, Sakurai clarifies that Tak, being an enemy from Kirby, can run up and steal your charged power. And he might even steal a ton of it. But apparently you can get it back by chasing him down and beating on him, I'm guessing. We saw a bit of that in the trailer.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, Tak is alright. He's fine by me. I've got nothing else to say about this.
Yeah, well, it's basically just showing that there is ways to lose, these powers and whatnot. And unfortunately, we're not getting a look at other new enemies because we got, of course, we got Tak here. We've also got the Scuttler from Kid Icarus Uprising, and it's just, there's really not much to say. I mean, the sad thing is I can look at the screen right now and I can tell you I could look at the overall map and tell you exactly where it is. I've looked at that damn map so often.
I believe it.
But no, I mean, it's just another, it's a detail that we saw and most other people realized quite quickly, so there's not really much to say.
Well, speaking of losing powers, actually, now, there was something, there's been something I've been wondering. Now, I don't think in the footage of the Smash Run mode, we never see the characters ever on the same screen together, right? They're all separated, right? We never see them in the same area.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm wondering, will they appear, are they in the same map? Or do they each have their own, isolated map? I guess, instanced map, if you will. Because if they do, that would mean that they can't interact with each other like they could in Kirby Air Ride. So I'm wondering if that element might be gone, or they might still be able to battle out each other, or battle each other in the map itself, and steal each other's powers, kind of like Tak does here, and again like Kirby Air Ride.
I believe Sakurai did say that they're all going to be on the same map, so you could find one another and potentially battle.
Well, he said that. He said a couple things, but I don't think. I think it might have also meant that they are on the same map, as in they are all playing on the same map, like the same version of that map, but not necessarily in the same map, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying, but I do believe they're all in the same one because I think there was a throwaway line there where he's saying that, you could fight one another, but it's better to spend your time collecting things.
Well, he said this isn't the place for battles.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure whether that means that you can't or you shouldn't.
Yeah, unfortunately have no real way of confirming that yet, because I think I looked through every bit of footage and I saw no way of seeing. I didn't see them come close to interacting with each other at all. So,
do you have a preference? Like, would you want to see that? Or
yeah, I'd like to see that. I mean, there's some strategy there. If you can fight each other and knock out an opponent that has a lot of stuff now, so you don't have to worry about them later, that sort of thing.
Yep, I totally agree. I mean, I love that in Kirby Air Ride. So, I think it'll be a lot of fun here too. All right, moving on to the final screenshot of the week, being Fridays. We get a look at an assist trophy on the 3DS, and in fact, it's Isabelle from that we'd previously seen in the Wii U version, being from Animal Crossing New Leaf. But Sakurai says something interesting here. He says that the 3DS version will have roughly the same types of assist trophies and Pokemon, just roughly. So what does that mean exactly? That seems like that. As we thought before that they'd have the exact same trophies and assist trophies in Pokemon. It seems like that won't be the case.
No, it doesn't. I mean, the wording here is very interesting because it'll have roughly the same types of assist trophies in Pokemon, but he doesn't say he doesn't say numbers. He's just types. So it seems like, to me, like one of the things I noticed in the Direct was that Skull Kid and Palkia did essentially the same thing, which is just flip the map upside down.
Right.
So maybe repeats like that will get cut from the 3DS version, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's so weird how it's described here, where it's just roughly the same types. And I don't know, I never really thought of types when it comes to assist trophies in Pokemon. Well, I guess kinda. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what's he even mean by that? Does he mean effect-wise, like their effect on the battle? Or does he mean like what game series they're from or what they represent?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when he said that, I thought like what their effects were in battle, because obviously Isabelle heals whoever sent her out, and others will just damage everybody, and or just have some sort of status effect on the map itself. These are the different types, but it seems odd that maybe there's just that limited amount of space where they decided not to have some, but I'm not sure. It's like I said, it's so odd they decided to say types instead of number.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if it might be just a limitation. Like he already went into detail about how the 3DS version will run at 60 frames per second, but some things like assist trophies and Pokemon will run at 30 frames per second. So I'm wondering if there's some like really elaborate assist trophies in the Wii U version, maybe this simply won't work. Like maybe it's too much for the 3DS to handle, while handling everything else at the same time.
No, that's probably the best bet here, is that there's just some that look so extravagant that it just doesn't happen. It would make the most sense, but it is still intriguing, because up until this point, we just have been going under the thought like, okay, the 3DS and Wii U versions are essentially the same, other than Smash Run and different levels and potentially other stuff coming down the line. So it's interesting that assist trophies in Pokemon are also affected by these differences, which also encourages purchasing both versions.
Yeah, I mean, between this and Smash Run, like it's almost kind of turning into the inverse of what we thought. Where before we thought everything was the same but the characters, and now it's almost starting to seem like nothing's the same but the characters, or completely the same. I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I'm getting at. So I do wonder there might be more differences here than we think even currently. Who knows? I mean, I'm guessing the items will probably be the same as well, but maybe they'll throw in a few system exclusive ones. Especially if they do want to encourage people to pick up both versions of the game. Alright, well, I think that wraps up our Smash Brothers discussion this week, so thanks guys for watching. If you like this video, make sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. You can find links to them in the description below, which is a good way to keep up to date with everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Smash Brothers Wii U and 3DS and other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.